Hey guys, now the brand Anastasia Beverly Hills recently came out with a highlighter kit. This is called the Aurora palette. This is the sleeve. It doesn't exactly come with the box. It says Aurora here, and it has a beautiful ombre from like a very pale peach to a lavender, and this is the sleeve. In the back it does have all the details, ingredients list and everything. Now this is not like a brand new product. I think this was released say 2 to 3 months ago, and after seeing the reviews online, I wasn't like sure that I would like totally love this product, so I patiently waited for this to release on Sephora, just because returns and everything is very flexible and easy and hassle free with Sephora. So yeah, let's get into the review. Now this is the actual product, and I think this is, they call this like the sister palette to the already existing Moonchild Glow Kit. Moonchild Glow Kit has all the shades, all the unconventional shades like green, purple, pinks, peach and something like that. So I do not own the Moonchild Moonchild Glow Kit. So I was really interested in to see how the formulation on this is. So a lot of people compare the Moonchild Glow Kit to the Alchemist palette by Kat Von D, and I do have the Alchemist palette. So I wasn't really like motivated to buy the Moonchild by Anastasia Beverly Hills. So yeah, that's tiny information on my makeup collection. Anyways, this retails for $40, and this carries quite a lot of product actually. This has 4.2 grams of product each. This has six shades. Let me just focus. Oh yeah, focused. There are 6 shades as you can see, and the pans are quite large, and this carries 4.2 grams each in each pan. That's 0.15 ounce of product. This is quite a lot of product, guys, because in comparison, say with Becca's highlighters, one full-size highlighters from Becca, it carries 8 grams of product. So this is actually a little more than half of a full-size Becca highlighter. This has 4.2 grams each pan. So just imagine the how much product you get. You get a lot of product, and this is a vegan and cruelty-free product. I'm not sure about the brand as a whole, Anastasia Beverly Hills, but this product is vegan and cruelty-free, and this is made in China. So yeah, so I think I really like the pricing and the amount of product you get and everything. So let's jump into the review. As I showed you guys, these are the shades you get. Let me just quickly start with the swatches. You have let's start with this bottom row. This is Lyra, Orion and Helia. Lyra, Orion and Helia. So let's swatch Lyra. Lyra is very deceiving in the pan. It just looks like a yellow gold highlighter, but when you swatch it, it turns into a beautiful peach shade, guys. It's really pretty, with like a yellow peach with a yellow undertone, and it does have chunky glitters in it. You can just see it just in person when you look at the palette. It's very obvious it does have chunky glitter in. Just 2 of the shades do not have. It just gives a sheen, but the rest of the 4 does have chunky glitter, and Lyra is one of them. But it catches the light beautifully, and I really like it. Then you have Orion, which is like a baby blue. These are powder highlighters. This is Lyra, and then Orion, and then you have Helia, which doesn't have chunky glitter. So it's it might look like it's green, but it has like a definite yellow sheen to it, which makes it very wearable. And this doesn't have any chunky glitter. It's very smooth actually. So yeah, that's Helia. And then on the top row you have Spectra, which is like a dirty lavender shade. It looks like a dirty lavender on the pan, but on the skin it turns into like a beautiful pale lavender, which doesn't have any chunky glitter either. turns into a beautiful lavender shade, guys. It's really with the pink undertone to it. It's really, really pretty. And these two do not have the green and the purple shade. They both of them do not have any chunky glitter. They just give you an intense, beautiful sheen on the cheeks. And then you have like Luna, and again you see like a paler version of this over here, but this is completely different when swatched. Nowhere even close to this shade. This looks peach when swatched, but let me just and this is, I wouldn't even call this ivory shade because it looks straight up white. This is like a straight up white shade, and this is a pale peach shade. This is definitely has a very pale tone, pale peach, and this is like a more of intense peach, and both of them have that warm golden undertones to it, so it's really very, very pretty and doesn't have a white cast. Now these are powder highlighters, so these two shades, this blue and this white shade, both of them do leave like a white cast on deeper skin, but the rest, since this has like pink, this is pinky purple, it doesn't really leave a white cast. And then this these two shades, this has like a strong gold undertone, and so does this, so they don't leave a white cast on my skin. And then this has like a greenish gold tone to it, so this doesn't leave a white cast either. So 4 out of the 6 shades do not leave a white cast, but the blue and the ivory shade, not ivory, blue and the white shade, they both do leave a white cast. Now if you just do one layer of blue and the white, it does still leave a white cast, but it's not crazy and it doesn't like look abnormal. Of course there is a little bit of abnormality to it because you do have like a white cast to it, but I can tolerate that white cast. It's not like the biggest downside for me. Now I have to say all of these are very intense highlighters. These are, wait, which are those? Now the gold and the purple, these are the only two ones which do not have chunky glitter, so the rest do have chunky glitter, and you can see the chunky glitters on the cheeks when on application, and they do like, when you're applying, they do kind of migrate, and the flecks do like appear here and here and there, but it's not like crazy to the point that it like smears all across your face or anything, but you can see the chunky glitters like migrating a little bit like here or here, just in and around the area of the high points of the cheek. It does move, and it doesn't like just sit like in the exact spot where you want it to. And even after like blending and applying it, you can see glitter particles here and there, the high points of a cheek, with the exception of these two shades, the green yellow, the golden yellow, the golden green, and then the pinky purple. With the exception of these two shades, all of them you can definitely see the chunky glitters. And the formulation is, this is a powder formulation, and it is actually pretty dense. It's not very smooth because it does smooth to the touch, meaning because it does have like large sized glitters in it, so it's not like very smooth, but it is actually pretty dense to the touch, and it's not powdery at all, and it doesn't like look cakey, and I don't think it actually emphasizes any fine lines or anything. You do not need layering this up at all, guys, because this one layer and all of these are pretty intense, and they like bling. They are beaming highlighters, so you do not need to layer them at all. Now one thing that I was really doubtful about this palette was, a lot of people encouraged buying this palette because they said even if you do not use these product as you know, highlighters, you can definitely use these as eyeshadows. Now I was kind of doubtful about that because every time someone says that, my mind always goes back to my favorite highlighters, which are Becca highlighters, one of the favorite highlighters, Becca highlighters, and they do not look good as eyeshadows because when you apply it on the cheeks and shear it out, they become like very intense and beaming highlighters. But when you pick them up in like a shader brush and try to pack it on your eyelids, they kind of crumble and become very sheer. That they just become the opposite, because on the when you apply it on the cheeks, it's intense, opaque, and it just beams beautifully. But when you try to pick it up in a shader brush, it just like kind of crumbles and falls apart, and it actually it's very, very sheer. And on top of that, I do have hyperpigmentation on my eyelids, so I really need like a very good quality, intense and opaque product to cover up my hyperpigmentation in one go. So I was like, I don't think so. Probably this person, whomever is suggesting that you pick up this product, this kit, even if you do not use these products, this crazy well, I'm not going to say it crazy. It's really, really pretty. This baby blue and these purple, because I think a lot of the highlighters here look darker and on lighter skin tones. They're not like perfect for you know, lighter skin tones, I would say. I think this would be a little bit darker. Come on, let's focus. Yeah, this would be, I think, a little bit darker on paler skin tones. And so would this, because it's kind of a deeper peach. And this would look definitely out, like kind of it would stand out on all skin tones, this baby blue. Because do you see how it's not pastel, but it's definitely a solid baby blue, I would say. It's really pretty in person. But so what I'm trying to say is, I was not exactly convinced. I just thought that the people who say that is they're just trying to justify the purchase or whatever. So I bought this, and I really wanted to put those claims to the test. And I'm really impressed, guys. This is the eye look that I have. I'm wearing this Lyra, this deeper peach in the inner corners, and then all full on the entire eyelid I have the baby blue. And of course that's in this eye look, but I did use all of these as eyeshadows, and they work amazingly. They are beautiful. They are not powdery. They're not sheer at all on the eyes. They work beautifully with a complexion like highlighter brush and also an eyeshadow brush, and they are beautifully intense and opaque. Do you see how beautiful? I'm absolutely in love with this look. The inner corner is a beautiful peach, and in the you know, the inner, oh well, this is not the inner corner, the inner 1/3, the 1/3 of the eyelid is the peach, and the inner corner I'm wearing the white shade, and that is a beautiful inner corner highlight. And then in the entire lid I have the blue shade. Do you see how it's popping? It doesn't look pastel, or it doesn't look weak or very mild or dim. It's actually it beautifully pops on my skin tone, and I'm really, really impressed as to how these perform both beautifully as both highlighters and eyeshadows. So I approve that these can be used as eyeshadows, really good quality eyeshadows. And have you guys seen a good quality, intense, beautiful, reflective baby blue eyeshadow anywhere? I haven't. I have seen baby blue eyeshadows, but they're all very sheer and very you know, like powdery. But this is a solid baby blue eyeshadow, and I think everybody, it really looks good on every skin tone, and it's not like ashy at all. It looks pastel, but at the same time it doesn't look ashy. It's like a solid baby blue. And then the crease eyeshadow and the outer corner is all sugar pill eyeshadows. I do have like a video coming up soon on the sugar pill eyeshadows. But anyways, these are amazing. They truly are multitaskers. They can be used beautifully as highlighters and as eyeshadows, and they are truly pigmented, guys, and they work with both kind of you know, brushes. Now as for that's my review on this product. I really like it. I think only people who do not like chunky you know, highlighters, and who do not like unconventional shades would not find this palette, you know, like workable or not useful. But otherwise I think this would really people who wear eyeshadows and highlighters can get really, really good use out of this, and you do get a lot of product. Now I wanted to compare this with the Alchemist palette, because that's the only highlighter palette that I have closer to this. And you do have like a green, but that is like a straight up green, guys. Do you see how green it is? This is from the green from the Alchemist palette, and the blue from the Alchemist palette is actually very similar to this, but I'm going to say I do not like the Alchemist palette for the eyes. You have to have like a black or a darker base for this. I feel it doesn't even pop on brown eyeshadow. It actually, these Alchemist eyeshadows truly pop only on a black base. I would say it doesn't even pop on in any other kind of a base color as a base. Definitely they only work with black, and that's when these eyeshadows really pop. And I do not use these as eyeshadows, very rarely, only when I use a black eyeshadow as a base. But I do use these as for inner corner highlights and highlighters. So the shade is actually very close, but this from the Anastasia's Aurora kit has chunky glitter, and the Kat Von D does not have chunky glitter. It's very smooth and gives, as a highlighter, it gives like a very reflective, beautiful sheen. But as eyeshadows, I do not like any of the Alchemist, any of the shades in the Alchemist palette as eyeshadows, because they definitely need a base. They are on the sheerer side. So yeah, shade wise, they are actually a very 100% dupe, I would say. And then what else do we have? We have the pink opal, which is let's do it here. Pink opal has a lot more pink and less purple in it. I feel it doesn't have any purple in it. In fact, it is, I don't think pink opal has a dupe. I don't think the Aurora has any shade closer to pink opal. This is peach, and this is also peach. This is like the pink opal from Kat Von D. So this is peach, and this is also peach. The only shade that has pink in it is the purple shade from the Aurora kit, and this is more purple than pink, and this is more pink than purple, the Alchemist one. So I don't think Alchemist has any the Aurora kit doesn't have any shades closer to the opal in the Alchemist palette. And then finally we have like a purple one from the Alchemist palette. This, you do not have any bluish purples in the Aurora kit. This is actually not a pinkish purple. This is actually bluish purple. The purple from the Alchemist palette is a bluish purple, and you do not have any bluish purple in the Aurora kit. So you do not have any dupes in this Aurora Glow kit at all. So moving on, I do have highlighters from Becca, the light chaser ones. Let's see if any of these actually double as dupes. Now I do have the shade in Topaz Flashes Gilt, which is which I really loved because it had like a good balance of gold and green. But definitely, as you can see, this is more green. This is a shade from Becca, which is Topaz Flashes Gilt. I was raving about this highlighter because I thought that this was very unique, and I do think this is a very unique shade because it is a green shade. It's predominantly green, but it has that subtle gold tint to it, which makes it a very wearable green. But this shade is more gold to it, actually, if you ask me. So I think this is more closer. So the Topaz Flashes Gilt is not a dupe for this gold shade in the Aurora kit. In fact, it is, I think this is this would be like a dupe for Pearl Flashes Gold, which just looks like a very pale gold, and I think that would be a closer to dupe for the let me just swatch this on top. You see, that is actually pretty close. That I would say this is 100% dupe for the Pearl Flashes Gold from Becca. Light Chaser highlighter is like a dead-on dupe for the gold shade, greenish gold shade in the Aurora kit. And what else? Do we have a blue? I think we do have a blue in the Becca highlighters, which is Opal Flashes Jade. Let's see how this looks. This is Opal Flashes Jade, and this has more green and blue to it, and this is not a straight up blue at all. So that is not even close to the blue shade in the Aurora kit. And what else? I know this is all confusing. I will give you guys a very good conclusion at the end. I will give you a gist. And then finally you have Champagne Dream Flashes Bellini, which is a peach shade. And let's see which is closer to this or this. So Bellini, Champagne Flashes Bellini is very close to the yellow, or almost like yellow peach shade from the Aurora kit, the Lyra shade. This is very, very close to Champagne Flashes Bellini. So that is, both are peach shades and they are actually pretty damn close. And the difference is Champagne Flashes Bellini doesn't have chunky glitter and this guy does. Now in conclusion, I have compared all, the formulation on both Kat Von D's Alchemist palette and the Becca highlighters and the Aurora kits. All three are actually powder formulations, powder highlighters, and all of the shades in Kat Von D's Alchemist palette and the Becca do not have chunky glitters at all. The 4 out of 6 shades in the Aurora kit have chunky glitters, and the purple and the gold shade, greenish gold shade, these two do not have chunky glitters in the Aurora kit. Now as for the dupe, gist on the dupe is, we have found that the blue shade in the Alchemist palette is very close to the blue in the Aurora, but it doesn't have any chunky glitter. The Aurora does have chunky glitter. And the Champagne Flashes Bellini is a very close dupe to the peach shade, the Lyra shade. Let me just hold it up because it can get confusing. So yeah, this is the peach shade and that is on top, the first shade, and that is a very close dupe to the Champagne Flashes Bellini. And it looks green but it's actually a very gold shade. This is a very close dupe to what flashes gold? Pearl Flashes Gold from Becca, but the Becca doesn't have chunky glitter and neither does Aurora kit, the shade from the Aurora kit. Both of them do not have any chunky glitter, so these are, like, I would say, like very, very similar to each other. And what else? And this shade, the pinky purple shade, doesn't have a dupe at all anywhere, both in Becca and the Kat Von D. And yeah, and I do not have any dupe for the pearl shade and the very pale peach shade. So that's a conclusion. Hope I'm not confusing you guys. And what else? I'm going to say I do not like Becca highlighters for eyeshadows, and I do not like the Kat Von D holographic palette as eyeshadows, but I really love the Aurora kit for eyeshadows. They are stunning and they are very, very efficient and effective as eyeshadows as well, guys, and as highlighters. And I do not have like a major problem. I can definitely tolerate chunky glitters in my cheeks when I'm wearing as a highlighter, so that's not a problem at all. And when you use this as a highlighter, since the consistency is dense, I do not experience fallout at all. So with the Aurora kit, so as eyeshadows, they are actually fantastic. I'm so impressed that they are truly multitaskers. Well, these the Becca and the Alchemist, they do claim that they are safer for the eye, because they are safe, but they are not very you know, they are not ideal eyeshadows. This doesn't need a base and you do not need to build up at all. They just go on smoothly and they are actually perfect. So I really like this palette and I really recommend this if you're into you know, highlighters. But do please buy this palette only because only if you would use at least some of the shades as highlighters, and the rest, the ones that you do not use, you can just use them as eyeshadows. Because if you just buy this palette for eyeshadows, that's expensive for an eyeshadow palette. This is this as an eyeshadow palette, I would say is expensive, but do what you want if you have funds at your disposal and if you really love these products as eyeshadows, because these shades as eyeshadows usually are sheer. From what I've seen, I have not seen like a baby blue which is this intense, and I have not seen like a beautiful yellow which is also intense, and this peach is also one swipe, and so is this purple shade, because all of these shades, when I've seen them in the form of eyeshadow, they are not good at all. So I think these are amazing as both eyeshadows and highlighters. So yeah, that's my very long review and a lot of confusing dupes. Hope you guys, hope I didn't make it confusing for you guys to follow, and Hope I made sense. So thank you so much for watching, and please give this video a thumbs up if you liked watching it, and please subscribe. Bye.